What's up, everybody? Jacob Barn here with the Barnhill team at eXp Realty. I am super excited today to have Bob McIntosh with us. And Bob is going to talk about some really cool things with social media. Bob he's been a speaker. I learned from Bob a couple years back. And Bob, I don't know if you know this or not, I use a lot of the just little tips that I learned from that course. I think that was probably like 5 or 6 years ago. And you were on stage teaching a marketing course. And a lot of that I use still today, just basic fundamentals. And I remember you were on stage and you were saying, get everybody to hit the angry face. Just hit them, make them hit it over and over and over and over again. And I was just like, that's so smart. Like you could get people to interact. So anyway, without further ado, Bob McIntosh has so many accolades. You guys, Bob McIntosh, take it away. Bob, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're up to.
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, thank you for having me on and reaching out and getting this schedule, because I'm always excited to share my knowledge and help people grow. The thing that I found over the years is that, and this is funny because not everyone's this way, but I am, and it's that I'm rooting for everyone to win. Even if they're in the same space and they're competing against me, I'm still rooting for you to win, because at the end of the day, too many entrepreneurs fail simply because they look at everything as competition instead of as, collaboration. And I think that's huge. So I appreciate it. But yeah, so I've been teaching, I got about 3,500, a little more than 3,500 hours on stage teaching digital marketing to entrepreneurs, a lot of that in the real estate investor and agent space. And I geek out about this stuff. I don't know how else to put it, but I'm the guy that's reading all the blog posts, that dives in when the CEO of Instagram has a secret blog that no one knows about. Like, I'm the guy that finds it and I'm reading every post. Like, I'm there because to me, I get the power of this and I understand it, and it's fun for me to do it. And it's also fun for me to share it, because I get that not everyone can always read between the lines to understand what are we actually seeing, what's actually happening, and more importantly, how do we use it for business? Because look, social media is one of the greatest tools for marketing that's ever existed. And but it's not if you either A, don't use it, or B, don't know how to use it. And so yeah, so I love sharing and helping people. And obviously I've done a lot of real estate. My dad and I flipped houses for a number of years. We do a lot of buy and holds right now in the Buffalo market. And yeah, that's the short version of me.
Yeah, I know there's many layers here, and I don't know if everybody realizes. Yeah, Bob, he's been a speaker. He's also a systems guy. I don't know if you consider yourself a systems guy, but I remember you talking about some of the systems and the people and the staff that you had with your flip properties, where it was just running mostly without you, and you had your marketing and everything set up, and a lot of that done for you. And I know that you're an expert in many spaces. So I'm really happy to dive in today and kind of dig on some of these social media things. So we're kind of do a little bit of interview and background, and then Bob has some stuff that he's going to share with all of us that's super insightful. I don't think I never saw it this way. And Bob's really at the tip of the spear, I think, with a lot of things that are new, and then also kind of help you guys think of like, how do we think about this space? Not only fundamentally, but where it goes and how to stay ahead of some of the curves. So we're going to get into some of that today. So why don't we start with Bob? Like, how did you get into marketing? You got into investing, I think. I don't even know if that was the first thing in real estate or
business. Yeah. So we started with not flipping, with a buy and hold. I had some money left over from college, and I bought a rental property, and I was like, okay, this is great, making some cash flow, albeit a very small amount. And I was like, yeah, okay, well, that's cool, but it's not going to like change my life. Let's be real. Like, one property, one duplex, making me $200 a month, whatever. This is back in 2008. And so I was like, okay, well, I need more money faster. How do I do that? And so that led me to flipping. And then we were doing that, but we were doing flipping in Buffalo, which I happen to be in right now. At the moment, I'm in Buffalo. By the way, I live fully nomadic. I don't have a permanent address right now. So in Buffalo at the moment. But at the time when we started flipping, I was in Los Angeles, or I had just moved to LA, actually. And I was like, okay, well, I'm 3,000 miles away. How do I help? Right. And so I did as much as I could with digital marketing, a lot of the systems and backend and tools, setting up our technology, things of that nature. And then also raising money, because when you talk to someone in LA, what we're buying and flipping a house for is the total amount of a down payment there. So, little bit different market, maybe not as much anymore, but back then it certainly was. And so, yeah, so I just, got good at that. And I want to say the number varies. I don't have the exact number, but probably about 35% or so of our deals came from digital marketing in some capacity. So it's a massive, massive chunk. When you think about any single source of deals coming into our business from one source is accounting for 35%, that's huge. And so that worked really, really well. And then got hired to basically come on and teach and show people what I was doing and how it was working for me, and started doing that. And then eventually got tired of just teaching it and said, you know what, I just want to do it for people, because the thing that I learned the most in my time and most of my hours, and if I look at most of the 15,000 plus people that I've taught, I would venture out to say maybe less than 1% have actually taken action on what I teach and execute it. And because they get in their own way in some capacity. I'm not tech savvy, or my favorite, especially with social media.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Is, well, I'm not going to be on TikTok. That's stupid. That's just for this. Or I'm not going to be on Facebook.
Or I get I don't want to share my
definitive, I'm not going to do
news
this no matter what.
I don't want to share everything about myself with the world, and there's security issues with that. And if I'm out of town,
there's always something.
Yeah, there's always something.
And I'm like, look, actually, this is kind of funny. One of my favorite stories from the seminar that you were referring to was a guy who was 100% adamant he was never going to be on Facebook. And this is probably my favorite story of this example. I was like, okay. I was like, so you basically said that I am not going to do an entire marketing channel because you have some personal belief about the evilness of Facebook and the people on it and all that. Great, no problem. I don't judge your belief about it. You believe whatever you want to believe. So, but when it comes to marketing, I understand that social media is where conversations are happening, whether you are a part of them or not. They're still happening. And I said, case in point, watch. Let's just call his name Joe, for example. And he was real estate 123. That's not his actual information, obviously, but let's just say that. I said, what's your name? Joe. It's like, okay, what's your business name? Real estate 123. So I open up Facebook on the big screens, right? I got, I don't know, about 150 people in the room or so. And I'm like, Joe from 123 Real Estate is a total scumbag piece of shit. Excuse my language. Sorry. Hopefully, whatever. He will
like it real and raw. It's good.
Yeah, he will screw over you and your family from all the money that you've earned in real estate. He will steal your property and is just a terrible human being. Don't work with him. And I hit post. And you could just see this guy's face, and he's like, why would you ever say that? I was like, doesn't matter why I'm saying it. I'm saying it. And you don't even know what's happening because you're not even on Facebook because you don't believe in it. And I just stopped. I didn't say anything else. And he was like, well, maybe. I was like, okay, I'll take a maybe, right? And this is the point, right? And that was years ago. That was, I don't know, 2016 or something like that. I mean, that was so, I'll say in the earlier times of social media. But the point is this: there are conversations happening on social media, whether you're a part of them or not, doesn't matter. They're happening. They could be happening about you, but they're definitely happening without you. And if you're not actively working on being a part of those conversations, you're missing out on an opportunity to generate leads, goodwill, and just really be seen.
Right. Yep. I tell agents, don't be the secret agent. We got to tell people it's 2022. We gotta go where, and it's free. Like a lot of it is free. The organic stuff, obviously there's paid versions and pay to play at certain levels, but I built my business. I did 26 my first year, and half of that came from people coming to me because they saw me doing stuff. Gary Vee style. I was just documenting what I did. So it's a very powerful tool. I don't know why anybody would not want to do it. Well, we'll move on from that. So hopefully we've convinced some people, or if you need a kick in the pants, you can reach out to Bob and he can put some stuff out there on you and kick you in the pants. So reach out.
That would be a funny account. I'm going to talk crap about people who aren't on social media just to prove the point of why they should be.
Yeah. If you need to kick in the pants, just reach out to me. I'll help. I love that, man. All right, cool. So all right. So you were doing some speaking engagements. You had this investment business, and now you're doing 3 degrees consulting. And tell us about that. Tell us how you landed there and about that company.
Yeah, so this was really born more out of necessity. The biggest thing that I was finding is that people just didn't want to do it, right? And it's not necessarily that they didn't want to do it in terms of the negativity, I'm not going to be there, but it was more of a lot of times you got to wear a lot of hats, especially as an agent. We're running around, we're dealing with buyers, sellers, title companies, attorneys in some states. We've got inspectors, we've got, there's a lot of things that we have to keep keep going. And especially as an agent, right, you are the point of contact to make sure those things continue, because that's, that's how you're earning your commission. That's the whole point, right? Like, they didn't need those things, they wouldn't need you, right?
Yeah.
But that's what makes you different. That's what makes your ability to do that. And so when we look at that, what invariably ends up happening is social media posting, and a lot of times just marketing in general, gets shoved to a back burner, right? We don't feel that it's important enough to take our time. And my experience of that was one of two things. Either one, people didn't have the right framework to know what to do. So then it's like, well, I know I need to get on Facebook today and do a live, but I don't even know what to talk about, because they've not really thought about or put together a framework or plan for what to talk about. Or number two, literally they're so busy that it's either A, not worth their time, or B, they just don't have the time to put towards it. In which case I was like, well, as any good entrepreneur does, here's a need, let's go fill it, right? So
Yeah.
3 Degrees Consulting was born to fulfill the need for people, and to say, look, I know more about this than most people out there, and so I can direct you. And if my team and I are doing it for you, we're likely to get you better results, simply because I'm the guy freaking out, like looking at it going, okay, like, we need to do this right now because this is working really well. Let's just switch gears and make that happen, because my goal is to get you results.
Yeah, man, I love it. And that's what you were looking for. It looks like results. And
Yeah.
you were seeing enough results, and you went and started your own company to help get more results. So I love it, man. So talk to me about, so I selfishly got you on today because I did a social media training with probably a lot, whether I know it really or not, or feel it that way, but I truly believe I had a couple different mentors and things, but I know there was a lot that you showed me that really turned on a lot of light bulbs and pieced together other things that are probably in my original presentation. And I think I sent it to you, but probably basic compared. It's like 101 compared to what some of the stuff we're going to get into today. It is how I built my business. But let's talk about what are some things that people need to think about. What are the fundamentals when they're getting started to kind of maintain a presence that's effective on social media?
Yeah. So there's a handful of, I'll say, pillars or fundamentals that are really important. First is absolutely to be on every single platform, all of them.
All of them.
Right. And now what I mean by that is not necessarily that you need to be actively posting and participating in all those platforms, because there's a diminished return on investment for some, you start getting into the alternate platforms like, like Parler and things like that. Sure, there's people there, but is there enough for you to commit to time to make it work? Maybe not necessarily. Right. But be on all the platforms in the sense of create your account. I want you to think like every new platform that comes out is like the Oregon land rush way back in the day from the Oregon Trail game, right? Like, hop in your covered wagon, in this case, AKA your phone, sign up and claim your space. And so if you look for me on any social network, literally every single social network, you'll find me at the THE Bob McIntosh, every single one of them. Yeah. Because the moment that I learn about a new one coming out, literally the moment it launches, like the day, like even if it's like, hey, launching on Thursday, I will go into my calendar and put a thing in my calendar to remind me to log on, because I probably forget otherwise, right? And I'll go in and I'll claim my space. And even if and Parler is a perfect example, right? Like, I don't post to Parler, I don't participate in the conversation there, not for any political beliefs or anything other than that. It's just not for me, for what I do. It's generally just there's not enough people there to make it worth my time investment, right?
What is Parler? Oh, go ahead.
Parler was the answer to Facebook censoring. It tends to skew very alt-right people who want freedom of speech to be able to post anything that they want to post, no matter what. Gotcha. About it, right? Gotcha. It's where after Trump got kicked off of Twitter and wherever else, he's like, I'm going to Parler, and now he's doing his own social network, which is supposed to be coming out this year sometime. TBD, we'll see. But the point is this, right? Like, there's a ton of social networks out there. Just be on all of them and claim your space, because here's the thing, like, social networks come and go, they rise in popularity and they lower in popularity. And the last thing you want to do is find out that like TikTok, for example, right? TikTok, I logged in and created my account TikTok in 2018, pretty much when it started. I didn't use TikTok really until the last month or so is when I really started using it. But, having your space there so that if it ever becomes a thing, you already have your username locked in. And this creates the credibility across the platform, right? Like if I enjoy seeing your content on Instagram and Facebook, and now I find myself using TikTok more, I'm like, well, I wonder if Jacob's over on TikTok. Well,
Mm.
if it's the same username, it's easier for me to find you, which means you're building your following, and transferring between these different places becomes easier. So that's an important, like, fundamental.
Yep.
Okay. Number two is consistency. I'm going to tell you straight up, even if your content is complete garbage and it's terrible, but you consistently post, you will gain traction just because you are constantly out there. And especially as a real estate agent, even more this is true. And here's why. Like, people aren't clamoring to sell their house every day of the week.
Right.
They're clamoring to sell their house when they're ready. And if you're the person that they've been seeing out there for the last month, 6 months, year, 5 years, whatever it might be,
Yep.
right? They go, oh, Jacob's the guy. Let me go talk to Jacob. I always see him out there. And like, also think about this, right? If I'm trying to sell my house, right, and I see an agent who's constantly posting and marketing and all that, that's the guy that I want to work with, or the girl that I want to work with, right? Like,
Right.
oh, they're out there doing things. I don't want the person that I've never seen before, because who knows if I'm going to get my house sold. And look, maybe in the last year or so, it's not been a big deal because you can pretty much sneeze and sell a house if you want to. But as things slow down, which we're already starting to see in many markets, it's still a seller's market for sure. But it's, you know, we're seeing things, instead of going for 120% of asking, it's 105 or 101 or maybe at asking, right? And as interest rates continue to rise, that will slow down a little bit. Maybe it'll be 90, 95, which is still, you know, great. That's good. But at the end of the day, it's like, if I'm going to choose between anyone, I'm going to choose the person that I see the most, because they've got the highest likelihood of getting the most people in and getting me top dollar for my house. That's just the reality.
Now, I do teach that. One thing, though, that I have to change out of my curriculum that I teach my guys is I usually teach them just pick one out of simplicity for social media platforms. But you're saying get on all, and I wrote that down. I'm taking notes too here, man.
Yeah,
So
well, and so look, I want to be clear, and actually, this is actually a great segue into understanding content. So this is a perfect segue.
Cool.
When I say be on all, I don't necessarily mean that you need to be posting to all of them. I understand that the reality is, like, every platform has a format that works for their content, and if you are trying to cross post content that's not the same format, it will lose, right? So there's kind of no point, right? So for example, if I'm creating great TikToks and I try to take those over to Clubhouse, well, that doesn't work because it's not the same kind of thing. But even like to other places, it's difficult to make that work, right? If I'm creating posts like images on Facebook, well, that might work great on Instagram, but it's going to fail on TikTok because it's a different format there, right? So you have to understand formatting matters. So the thing that I teach right now, and the thing that's working the best, is understand, and this kind of gets into a fundamental that's also a part of content. The landscape in the last 12 months has changed dramatically. Instagram's CEO literally came out and did a live video and said, look, we are now an entertainment platform. We are not a social network. We're and you've seen that in the rise of Reels in Instagram. And look, everyone understands that they're losing to TikTok. Everybody is, dramatically, right? TikTok is dominating the social media scene. They were the fastest company to grow to 1 billion users from a social media standpoint ever. They did it in half the time of Instagram, which was the fastest prior. Okay, half the time. So if you look at TikTok's launch in 2018, they hit 1 billion users, I believe, towards the end of 2021. So you're talking 3 years to reach 1 billion people. That's insane. Okay, and by the way, before you say TikTok's for teenagers and blah blah blah, whatever, no, it's not. The fastest growing demographic on TikTok is 35 to 45 year olds. Who's buying and selling the most houses? 35 to 45 year olds. You know what I mean? So like, it's not. It's for everybody. Now, content. Format of content is important, but here's the thing. TikTok is winning and all the other platforms know it. That's why Facebook now has Reels, Instagram has Reels, YouTube has Shorts. They're all the same format, which is based off of TikTok.
Right.
So what can you do to make your life easier? Well, what I do is I create videos and I film them vertically, up and down, right? And then I have, in my case, I have an editor who puts hard codes captions in, because captions are important, because people don't listen to a lot of stuff with sound on. in most cases. So we want to have captions. So whatever I'm saying, people can hear, AKA read, right?
Yeah.
And then I cross post that same video to Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts. So with one video, I've hit 4 platforms. Now, it takes me about half an hour to post across all 4 with one video.
Right.
Between writing the content, posting it, I got to find the music, and that's a tip right here, just pro tip, right? When you post to Reels on Facebook, Reels on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts, right? Pick a sound, a trending sound, and add that to your thing. I just crank the volume down to like 7-8% right there, so it's in the background, you can hear it, but not overpowering what I'm saying.
Right.
And I just and now I capitalize on the trending music plus posting out there.
The same music on the one video. So how do you get all this in here? What kind of software do you use to do this?
Yeah, so the editing is done by my editor. So I don't know what I'm assuming she uses like
Something that they have.
Premiere or whatever. Whatever. Again, you can find someone to do that stuff for you, right? You go hop on Fiverr, hop on Upwork. You can find someone in the Philippines to edit videos very inexpensively. Or if you're looking for someone that knows more, talk to me. My team can do it for you. We're not the cheapest. You can get it done cheaper elsewhere, but I know what works and doesn't. So you're paying for the expertise, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then everything else is done in the app. So I upload the video is done outside. It's sent to me by my VA, and then I upload each video individually into each app, and I do it manually. There's not a way to do it automated easily. Most of the platforms do allow you to do draft. So for example, I can go in as soon as I have a video. So I shoot 1 month of videos at a time. So I shoot 30 videos at a time, batch it all up, right? It takes me about an hour and a half to shoot 30 1-minute videos. They cannot be more than 1 minute. That's the one thing. Like if you're going to do this batching process, you only get 1 minute. TikTok is 60 seconds maximum. So if I'm going to use it across multiple platforms. Now, if you're going to do them individually, right, then you can do longer, because I believe Instagram is now 90 seconds for Reels is like the length you can have, right? So, but I just do 1 minute. That way it fits on every platform.
Got it. That's a good tip.
And then you just go in and you click the video, and I'm not going to go through the specifics of how to do that, because it's different on every platform. It's also different on every phone, and different on iOS versus Android, and even different within iOS and Android based on which version of iOS and Android you're running. So, the specifics of how to do this, I can't give you, because again, it's so different, like where to click. But here's what I do. I upload a video. There's usually a point at which you can add music. I go to music, and it will give you all the trending sounds, right? And I just search for one. Now, what I'm seeing right now, this is what I'm seeing working right now. I don't know how long this will actually work for, or if it's just a coincidence. I can't give you definitive proof, but it's what's working for me in the moment.
Okay.
I'm looking for trending sounds between 20 and 50,000 reels or plays. I usually start with Instagram Reels, and I post there first, because they give you more stats within the platform itself.
Okay, that's a good tip.
So you can usually find sounds between 20 and 50,000 reels. Okay, now what I'm finding is, algorithmically speaking, there's Instagram specifically and TikTok will really push your reel out until there's about 300 to 500,000 reels using that sound. And by the way, when I say reels, I'm using that as a homonym for, or that's not the right word. I don't know why I just said that, but I'm using that as an alternative for TikTok's reels on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube Shorts. Same thing, right? Like it's a video that we're posting, right? But between about 300,000 and 500,000, algorithmically it starts going down and down and down and down and down. So it's not going to be pushed as much once it crosses that threshold, because they want to always keep new things fresh and going. So the 20,000 to 50,000 has enough legs for them to go, oh, this is probably something that could pop, right? But it hasn't yet. So they're going to algorithmically, you have a better shot of it being pushed out there. Now, the con side to that is, algorithmically, maybe it doesn't pop the way we thought it was going to, and it goes nowhere, and it doesn't, right? You got to roll the dice. But if you're posting daily, which is my recommendation, if you're posting daily, you're going to get some, they're going to pop. And like case in point, let me actually pull up my account.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors that I knew.
Like you'll see, like my latest 3 videos, 300, 400, 300.
Yeah,
but then right below that, 4,000, right? And then if I scroll, I got like one with 500, and
Yeah.
then 5,000, and then 100, and then 1,000, right? So don't. The point is this: we can do a lot of things to try to hack the algorithm. The reality is, no, we have no idea what's going to work or not. All we can do is do our best. But if you consistently post out there, they will eventually just push some of your stuff out.
So I'm on my desktop version right now, and I found it in my app before. I'm on my reels. How do I go and look at my reels like that if I've created a reel so I can see
App
my
only. Every Instagram, everything's in the app. Yep,
okay.
you have to do it all from your phone. It's really nowhere else. Everything is done via the app.
Okay, that's good stuff, man. So if I'm just getting started with this, let's talk about people that are already on social media. Let's say I'm already on Facebook. Let's talk to the Facebookers. We're mainly on Facebook right now. I do a lot of Facebook. It's my favorite platform. So if I'm already posting and I'm doing some videos, maybe I've done a few lives, and I'm listening to you right now, I'm like, okay, I'm going to commit to start doing daily reels where, and I've got my content. I know what to talk about. What are some of the first things that I need to start looking at beyond the consistency and having relevant content and all that stuff when I'm just trying to master reels and this algorithm and what's working? I know you got some really cool stats and things to get into as well. Let's get into the reels a little bit deeper for those people that are going to
Yeah.
take action on that.
And first things first is a lot of people on Facebook are like, well, Reels is an Instagram thing or it's a TikTok thing or whatever, right? It's not.
Mhm.
Like when I load up Facebook now, look where
Yeah.
it defaults. The first thing, like that's post.
I just
First thing
noticed
is
that like in the
Reels.
last week, I feel stories
Yep.
were still at the top, right? And you had to scroll a little bit to get to reels, but that
Yeah.
just
Well, so on mine now, it defaults to Reels first over stories.
yeah, for me, I don't know. I actually have stories now. I noticed, oh, you know what it is? There's a tab at the top. I see it now. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
And
tracking.
guess
All
what? If you watch enough Reels on Facebook, it'll start defaulting the open tab to Reels first over stories.
right. Okay. All right. All right. I'm
Almost
tracking.
always.
All right, cool.
Um,
So
so
what
yeah,
do I need to think about with reels? Is how many views is good? What do I need to start adjusting? Things I need to think about.
so
Talk
when
to
it comes to Reels, here's the thing. You get, again, 1 minute, no more than that. Number two is it's vertically filmed, not horizontally filmed. You can do it horizontally and then fit it in there, but
Okay.
it's gonna in all cases except for TikTok ads, which is paid, not organic.
Okay.
Vertical works best. Okay.
Okay.
And by the way, if you're watching this later, like this is what we August 31st, 2022. That's when
Right.
this is, right? Talk to me September 31st, and maybe things are totally different. Who knows, right? But for right
Right.
now, we usually get about 3 to 6 months of something working before it starts to change again. So that's about how long we have to do this, right? So when it comes to figuring out things, the most important advice I can give is just post as consistently as possible. From a
Yeah.
business standpoint, the things that are working well is what we call talking head videos. And so if you look at mine, for example, you're going to see actually all of my reels for the most part, anything I've done recently is just me on a camera talking with
Yeah.
captions, right? Like even these ones here with like text, when you open it up, you see in the background, it's just me talking, right? And I talk for 1 minute about something. Now, what to talk about, that's a way deeper conversation that we don't have time for here. But what I'm happy to do for anyone that wants to is I have a framework. It'll take you about 10 to 15 hours to complete the framework, and that will give you 365 things to post about. And you'll have and it will drive, and you will choose those things based on emotional hooks from Russell. It's based partly in Russell Brunson's Expert Secrets framework. So if you've ever read or that book or not, he has a
Mhm.
framework on how to become an expert on
Yep.
anything in the world, right? Well, I used his framework and just applied it to social media and said, well, why can't we use this here and that way? So if you want that, it's about an hour and a half training. It's way super in depth, right? So we're not going to go to it here, but my email's on the thing below here. Just send me an email and say, hey, I saw you on Jacob's thing. I'd love to
Mhm.
get it, and I'll send you the link to watch that training, totally free, no charge.
Yeah. That'd be cool, man. Thanks for
Yeah,
that.
just shoot me an email and do that, and I'll be happy to do that. Now, but the important thing is consistency of posting is critical. Film it vertically and have captions. So if you don't have a VA to do the captions and edit them in there for you, just Google search. There's even apps now that will auto caption things for you and spit the video back out. How accurate they are, no idea. Are they going to be quite as good as having a VA actually do it with like emojis and colors and things like that? Probably not, but there's a lot of inexpensive options that won't cost you a
Like
lot to get
Canva,
done.
I'm thinking like Canva, because I don't see captions right now like you normally do on like a story. Just go to Canva, put the caption in there maybe, and make that your first image, and then go into the video.
Yeah, you could do that for that. But when I say captions, what I mean is, let me just do this here. So
Oh, you're
like when I'm
talking
playing the
about
video here,
as the video's playing. Yeah. Okay.
see
Gotcha.
how those
Yeah.
are flowing around like that. That's what
Yep.
I mean by captions,
Gotcha.
right? Because because if they're watching this, sorry, somebody's calling me. If they're watching this, but the sound's off, they've got no idea what I'm saying, right? Like
Right. Right.
they can see me talking, but they can't, So this allows them to watch. And what'll happen is if they're interested enough in this, they'll eventually turn the sound on, or they'll just watch without sound. Either way, it doesn't really matter. I don't care because they're gonna get all the content. So
Right.
that kind of captioning right there. And by the way, even these are in the wrong place. They should be closer to my mouth, which I've instructed my lady to do. Make sure, because we look at people's faces on
Yeah.
social media. So if I have to
Right.
look down for the captions and then back up and then down, like it's a
Yeah, that
creates a
makes sense.
conflict.
I was just thinking that too right before you said that, and I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh man, my eyes are
like
going up and down." That's a good point too.
like so like this one she did better. Like it's closer up to my mouth, right?
Yeah.
So that you can still see both at the same time. So that's an important thing too. Um,
So
yeah, so the right now just I mean it sounds silly to say this because it's quantity will trump quality, but obviously quantity and quality will trump one of either of those.
right.
But quantity right now, and actually this is the perfect time to kind of segue into that, which is there is an unprecedented algorithmic benefit right now to posting reels over any other kind of content on Facebook specifically and Instagram and YouTube, right? That will not be here for long, and once it's gone, will never happen again, most likely.
Yeah. Tell us
Right?
why that is. Give us some
Yeah.
perception.
So this
Perspective.
is how it's worked with social media since about 2012, 13, when social media became a haven for business communication versus just like so. Okay, I started on Facebook in 2004. Right, my college was one of the early colleges. Whoop, just dropped my phone. Was one of the early colleges to have Facebook when it was just college owned. Right, so
Right.
I've been on Facebook for a long time. So I've seen sort of the ups and downs of what it is. Around 2012, when it became obvious to Facebook that there was opportunity to allow businesses onto Facebook and make it more business friendly,
Mm-hmm.
right, and which eventually opened up the door for advertising and things of that nature.
Right.
The following has been true every single time. They develop some new thing, they algorithmically promote the thing so that those who use it and are early adopters get the biggest benefit. As usage climbs, they throttle the algorithmic benefit back to the point where it becomes not usable at all organically, and then they implement a paid platform piece into it where you can pay to get the exposure you used to get for free. And then they do that for a while, and then they introduce some new thing, and then the cycle rinses and repeats. So, proof of this: Facebook implemented business pages. Oh, you're a business, stop using personal accounts, get a business page, get a business page. You're going to get all these stats. We're going to promote you all the time, right? And so if you were a business page in 2012 to 14, you could post and it was insane. Like you would get so much traction because they algorithmically pushed out business pages posts to get
Right.
business owners to be on the platform and do it that way, right? Then about 14, they said, oh, here comes Facebook advertising. This is a real thing you can actually really do. Look, we got all these cool tools. And then slowly over the course of 14 to 15, mid 15, maybe early 15, your page reach went down and 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 down until eventually it was nothing.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
when I used to post to a page, right, I had a page with, our business page for real estate had like at the point like 3,000 followers. I'd get early days 15 to 20,000 views on a post all day long with 3,000 followers. By early 15, I would get about 800 views for the same thing with about the same size audience.
Right.
Okay, so they would just throttle it down. Then mid to late 15, what hits the scene? Facebook Live. Oh, got to get on live, and all of a sudden, 15 to 16
All these other
to
social
17.
platforms started coming out at that time, and now I'm assuming it just created this competitive attention space
Yeah.
where everybody's trying to come out with the next new thing.
Actually, even before that was groups. So like late 14 to early 15, groups started becoming the thing, and you could do groups and you could post in the group and everyone would see it. They would put it in the feed. It was great, and then they started throttling that down, and now you can pay for that. And then they did the same thing with live, which is why if you go back to my Facebook profile on 2017, I did 260 something lives in 2017. Right? Why? Because on an average live, I would get 4,000 or 5,000 views for my personal profile, which is at the time was great, right? Now, if I do a live, I'd be lucky if I get 500.
Yeah, I did a bunch of lives about that same time. I mean, I was that a lot of half of my business, like I was saying, every time I did an open house, it was standard. I was doing a live. 2016, 17. I had no idea. I just knew lives were available. I was like, I'm doing them. I wasn't thinking.
No, but it's what works, right? So then
Yeah.
they eventually about 2018, early 19, they nerfed lives and those
Right.
started going way down, right? And
Right.
so the new thing right now is reels.
Yeah.
And case in point, because we talked about sharing this.
Things. Show me that we're gonna look at the stats we were talking about earlier. You guys got to see.
So on my Instagram stats, I did for 30 days nothing at all, just regular posts and stories, and then I've been doing we're just about 30 days now of reels only.
Okay.
And I've done stories in both, but honestly, most of my stories are just memes, so not really, right?
Right.
This is the extra reach I've gotten in 1 month.
2,055% compared to July. Yeah.
Percent.
So put that in perspective for us all. I mean, it spells it out right there, but you're up 2,055% compared to like exposure. Let's just talk about 15.
So I reached 15.9 thousand accounts in 1 month. 15.9 thousand different people saw my content. And by the way, just to show you, most of my reels did not get a lot of traction. Every once in a while, one gets a whole lot, and that's cool. That's fine.
Did you pay for that?
Did you? Nope. That's all organic. None of this is paid. 100% organic.
Well, it went the other way, right? This is on Instagram. Was it Instagram that paid you? Who paid you?
Yeah. Well, Instagram and Facebook are doing both. I get paid. Yeah. So once you start posting reels often enough, what'll happen is they're so desperate for people to create content on reels that they are doing what's called bonuses. And bonuses is where they are actually currently paying me for views that I get on my stuff. I can earn up to $1,200 if I get 11 million views on my reels. I'm currently at $78.32 in free money. Now, I'm not like some of you might go, okay, $78, who cares? But the point is this: they are so desperate and algorithmically pushing it out so hard that all you have to do is post content, and they're going to pay you money to continue to post content. Now, the current round ends September 6th, right? So when I say you got a week to capitalize on that, now
you weren't lying. Call me in September, and it's going to be different.
Yeah, well, they've been doing this for about 2 months now. Yeah. They do it 1 week challenge, and then they can. So here's the thing: like, my guess, based on what I've seen in the past, is we should have about 3 months of this being true, of what I'm telling you being true, that's pushing out there, and probably these bonuses too. We might get as much as 6 months. If we're lucky, it'll last 12, but probably not.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're watching this right now, you've got at best probably 6 months that you can capitalize on this process right now and really use the algorithm to your benefit before they start to throttle it back down and you don't get that. And then there'll be some new thing at that point. Who knows what it'll be, but take action right now, because this will not last for long.
This social media mastery with Bob right now. This is for the action takers. This is good stuff, man. I'm loving this so much. So how do you stay ahead of all this stuff? Like you're across all these different platforms. I almost feel like you said that there's like these little competitions going on and you're staying at the forefront of this reels. Is there a group that you're staying in plugged in with, or how do you keep ahead?
I wish I could say there was. So the best thing that you can do is as an agent, because the reality is if you want to be at the forefront of all of this, you just have to become me, in the sense that you just geek out and research and look for all this stuff and spend hours a week looking through social content to see what's working and not, right? And the reality is, for most of you, that's not going to work for your business model, because you're not trying to be an agency where you help people with this stuff and that. You're an agent. So your best thing then is just to follow like myself and, people doing this stuff, people that are big in your space, and see what they do. And basically I say R&D it, which is rip off and duplicate.
Love it.
Yeah. You don't need to be the first person in any given space to win, but you need to be the early adopter, right? So I am not the first person in the reels, clearly, right? But
Yep.
I'm still early enough to make it work very, very well for what we're doing.
Love it, dude. This is good. Okay, what else is out there? Reels sounds like the number one hot thing right now. What do you think is going to be the next thing? Do you have any thoughts?
So where I am telling people to focus if they have the time is YouTube. YouTube is so underutilized. It's insane, right? And especially as an agent, here's why. Number 2 search engine in the world, YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay. YouTube gets more searches a month than Bing, Yahoo, and the next 20 search engines combined.
Yeah.
Okay. So let that sink in, right? Number 2, YouTube just introduced shorts. So now you can create your TikTok Reels content and upload it to YouTube. But here's the difference. YouTube's content is there forever. Like, it has long-term sticking power. Whereas the likelihood of your old content on TikTok and Reels being found again, very, 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 very low.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I will say this, TikTok is a different beast. Every once in a while, once you have a handful of videos on TikTok go viral, which viral means usually maybe over a couple 100,000 views in most cases. Once they see that happening, TikTok goes back and says, well, they like this other stuff. Maybe they'll like some of your other old stuff. And every once in a while, they'll throw an old video out there and also it'll go viral from like a year ago, right? But that's a much rarer thing to happen. But YouTube, right? YouTube, you can put your content out there. You can put and use keywords in your just title and descriptions because they give you a lot more control over that stuff than you have on Reels and TikTok. And so now I can create the same content that I'm posting someplace else anyways, but I can insert keywords. So for example, if I was an agent and I was doing this process, like I'm going to follow through this process, right? So I might make a video that's like, the 5 things every agent should be doing when they list your house, right? And if it can be, if as many of those 5 things are the things that you're doing that nobody else is, all the much better, right? Because now it's like, oh, well, Jacob will do that for me. Why won't you? Oh, Jacob will do this for me. Why aren't like if I want to sign with you versus him? Why would I not?
I'm like, we should have reels in the. I'd be like, hey, we stay in communication with guys like Bob McIntosh. We'll put Bob in our listing presentations and be like, hey, we're doing reels right now because this is what's working. We got 15,000 people that looked at the last one that the last listing that we put out there. They're gonna be like,
yeah.
I'd be like, here's how Facebook ads work. What'd you say that other agent did? Facebook ads? Oh.
yeah. Well, no, 100%. Dude, this stuff works, right?
That's awesome.
So I would do that. But then now, I can put in, I would take that same content. So let's say it's on Reels and TikTok, it's, the 5 things every agent should be doing when they list your house, right?
Yeah.
On YouTube, I'm going to approach it a little different.
Okay.
Because on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, right, it's kind of about going viral, and I'm relying on their algorithm for me to get found in that capacity. On YouTube, it's a search algorithm. So instead of saying the 5 things every agent should be doing, because no one's going to probably search that, I'm going to put the 5, I'm going to do the 5 things your agent isn't doing when they list your house. Right. And it's going to be the same content. I'm just changing the perspective of it. Right. Yeah, so that's that. So think about, what would someone search, what are 5 things my agent should be doing? Right. That might be the way I title it, because now it's like, oh, like I might Google what are the things, what should my agent be doing when he lists my house or she lists my house, right? And now my things are more likely to show up because it's like, here's the things that they should be doing, right? So think about it from that context. But I really do believe Shorts is brand new. It's only been out for, I don't know, I think this year. It's like maybe like February of this year, I think.
The YouTube, and those aren't slices of other videos, right? Those are like made that way.
It's their version of Reels and TikTok.
Right. Okay.
Literally, that's all it is. It's their version of Reels and TikTok.
Yep, sure.
Now, long form YouTube videos, because by the way, Reels or Shorts, I think can be I forget. They changed it. It was 1 minute, and then it was. I think it might be as much as 3 minutes. Like so, I think they can be maybe it's not that long. I don't remember. Don't quote me on the length, but the idea is it's short form content versus a lot of YouTube content is 15 minutes to an hour. It's much shorter content than that, right? It's also
Right.
a different platform. It operates and functions when you're within Shorts. It functions just like TikTok or Reels does, right? So it's a very different process with that. But here's the thing: when you search YouTube, Shorts are still showing up, and people's attention spans sometimes are going, "Oh yeah, I can watch a short about the same thing. I'll do that." And
Yeah.
now they watch a short and they go, "Oh, that Jacob guy knows a lot about listing houses. Let me dive in deeper and go check
Right.
out more
Yeah.
information."
These are just little bits, little
Yeah.
breadcrumbs to get
Yep.
people to consume more content, which we were talking
Now,
about before we hopped on. I'd love your thoughts on that. We were talking about finish your thought, but I wanted to go deeper into using social the right way. You were talking about that earlier, but go ahead, finish your thought.
yeah. So YouTube just, I mean, look, YouTube as long-term form videos also has a great potential, because the reality is, like, if you're an agent and you talk about not necessarily agent things, but like, hey, like the 5 hidden restaurants you need to know about when you move to XYZ city, right? Now they're like, oh yeah, I'm moving to XYZ city, and then you say, hey, I'm an agent with EXP Realty and the Barnhill team, right?
Yeah.
And I've been living here, and this is my five, whatever. So like, it's not necessarily direct in your face marketing
Mhm.
about what you do, but now it's, oh man, that Jacob guy, seems to know a lot about the area. Maybe I'll connect with him when I need to buy a house, or if I'm moving to the area, or whatever, right? Like,
Right.
it depends on if you're on the buy side or sell side, I guess. But just think about those kinds of things.
Yep.
And then one more thing, this is actually really important right now, especially for agents and especially on TikTok and Instagram Reels. You now have the ability to tag locations in. More so on TikTok than Instagram is it bigger, but they literally, like, I don't know, like not even a month ago, added location tagging into TikTok. So when you upload your content to TikTok right now, you can tag the location, and then someone in the location can tap the location just like on Instagram and see all the TikToks in that location. But there's no one doing it yet because it's brand new. So now all of a sudden you've got a massive, instead of you being one of 1
Open
million videos,
houses.
you're one of 100
That's To
videos.
me, that's open houses. I remember being out at I don't even know how Zillow did this. I actually called them because I'm like, I will pay you large sums of money if you would tell me how this happened. I was out putting open house signs, sweating in humid South Carolina, and I'm putting open house signs out for my open house. And on my phone, while I'm doing that, in the middle of the sticks, you know what I mean? A ad pops up on my phone at the top, like one of those proximity sensor things that pump out
Yep.
things in the mall. I was in the middle of like nowhere, and Zillow popped up on my phone with an ad with another open house. I was like, how did they, I want to know how to do that. How did that happen?
Yeah. It's actually really simple to do, but it's app based, so it's based on the app that you have and how it works. So if they
Yeah,
have your app on your phone, you can make that happen. Yep.
that's cool. But it makes me think of that. Like if people they're in the area, they're going to be like, yo, open house, like right down the street. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep.
That'd be a great strategy for that. That's a really good
Yeah.
tip.
Any house you look at, open houses, you're like, look, I would even go so far as, okay, you just signed a new listing, right? It's not even ready yet. Just be like, sneak peek, walk around the outside, maybe show one thing that's like, looks good, right? Be like, because you only
Yeah.
get 60 seconds. It's not a long time, right? And do that. And then, like, you guys should be taking your photos of your listings, right? And syncing those to the music and doing reels of, like, how they have like the ones where the photos flash real fast and it's like 60 photos in 60 seconds,
Yeah.
like that of a listing will get a lot of attention too. And
That's
then
cool.
tag the location of the house, like, huge
So
way to garner traction.
you said tagging locations on what applications?
TikTok is brand new and has the biggest upside potential. Reels has had it for a while, but not as many people use it in Reels, so there's still some traction to be had there. I
Gotcha.
don't believe YouTube currently offers a geolocation tagging.
Okay. All right. Dude, this is so good. I can only imagine the other things if someone was actually work with you, the things that you'd be able to show them. This is crazy, dude. So talk to me about using, while we're wrapping up, we got 10 more minutes. And talk to me about using social media effectively. These are great strategies. We get people that, might watch or reach out or respond, comment, like, and I'm sure you got some other strategies. And we were talking before we hopped on. How do people effectively use social media?
Yeah. So first and foremost, you got to understand is that social media is a lead generation tool, and it's an exposure tool, particularly for agents, more so than many other niches. And what I mean by that is, when we look at organic posting on social media,
Mhm.
it's not going to inherently by itself be a lead generator. And what I mean by that is, it's unlikely for you to post a reel and for someone to message you and go, "Hey, I saw your reel. I want to buy this house." Right?
Yeah.
Like they're probably just not going to do that because it's not how the platforms work. But what
Right.
they are going to do is say, "Oh, wow, that's a great house. Let me look at the description of the reel. Oh, there's the address. Let me go Google the address. Oh, there's the agent. Let me call the agent and talk to him that way." Right?
Right.
Like so now all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, like I saw your thing, and then I Googled the address, and that's how I find you, right? Like, understand that direct call to actions on social networks don't work great. Can they work? Sometimes, yes. But as an agent, because we have inventory, changing so frequently, like we're not offering the same thing over and over and over again. Like it's not like, hey, I offer coaching. This is my coaching package, and I'm just saying, hey, go get this freebie every single time, right? Every once in a while. As
Right.
agents, we have a lot of things. Our inventory, if you will, changes frequently. And because of that, the most important thing that you can understand and utilize social media for is to just be seen. Be out there and be seen. And this is going to help in a lot of ways. One, it's going to help when someone wants to sell a house. Hopefully, they're thinking of you because they're seeing you the most, right? Two, when someone wants to buy a house, right? There's a good chance they're seeing your stuff out there. They start going to Zillow and things like that, and the algorithm is going to automatically start showing them real estate related posts because that's how it works, right?
Right.
And then number three is understand that when someone wants to hire you in any capacity or work with you in any capacity, the more seen you are, regardless of how you're actually doing your business, the more perceived value you bring as either an investment in my money to hire you, or an investment in my money to work with you, or even like if you're an investor, for example, right? And I want to give you private money lending, like I'm like the more I see you out there, the more I feel like, hey, you're actually doing this stuff. You're living, walking the walk, talking the talk. You're living the dream. So I'm going to have a higher level of trust with who you are, and also understand that the more touch points that we experience, that someone experiences with us, aka more videos they see, more they comment and do these things, the more likely they are to want to work with us because we're building a bridge to trust faster. Case in point,
Yep.
I was part of several communities, and this is the funniest thing. I was at a bar in LA, in Hollywood, and I'm at the urinal. This is weird, I know, but right in front of the urinal is a mirror, right? So you're looking at yourself in the mirror,
Right.
but the mirror had the Time magazine outline, like the red square with like Time across the corner, right?
Right.
And so I snapped a selfie from like the side angle of me, so it looks like my face is on Time magazine, right? And now, mind you, this is 2011, so the photo was total garbage in comparison to what we could take now, right? Because I took it I think I took it with my old BlackBerry. Okay, like that's where we were at, right? Um, but then I changed my social media profile of that picture, and then I'm at an event. They're like, "Oh, you're the Time magazine guy," like,
Yeah.
it's you know what I mean. Like, and the point is this, right? Like, being seen allows you to then start the conversation. People will be naturally attracted to conversing with you because they feel like they know you. Like even events like that you came to, Jacob, right?
Yeah.
Like people come up and be like, "Hey, Bob, how's it going?" I'm like, "Hey," and they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh," they're talking
Oh,
to
I
me, and they're
remember
like,
that feeling when we met at the bar before the re-up, and I was like, "Hey, it's Bob," and you were like, "I don't remember you."
right, but people know you, like they feel like they know you,
Right.
even if you
Yeah.
don't know them, but it helps build that bridge a
Totally.
whole lot faster. And then now it opens the door for me to go, "Oh great, awesome, oh okay, great, yeah, no, I don't know you as well, right, because I don't consume your content, but I love that you do on mine." And hey, it's egotistical. It's like, yeah, hell yeah, you're looking at my content, right? Like it feels good, not gonna
Yeah.
lie. But also now that familiarity allows for a deeper level of conversation to happen than would otherwise have happened because we've already built rapport, without me having to actually do anything other than what I'm doing every day, anyways.
I read a book recently called Story Brand, and I think
Love that book.
they talked about how I think it was the pool company, right? was their example that they had, and the marketing guy, and they were like, our best customers are people that were easier to convert to a client, the people that we made the most money on and sold the most stuff. There was the most amount of trust there. We could go back and trace. They were the ones that spent the most time with us online, consuming our content.
100%.
Yeah. And I was like, wow. Like there were so many wows with that, but yeah, it's true. It's totally true. You got to get people to spend time with you online. So you were talking about earlier too, when you get them, how do we use these tools now to like convert business? You had a really great point that I want you to touch on, and how we should use these tools to actually get dollars into our business at the end of the day.
Yeah. So the best way to do that is to use it as a foot in the door, right? This is, and if you do it right, you can be like me with giant size 14 feet and get a really big foot in the door, but it's a starting point, right? So this is why it's important to have your handle claimed on every social network, and then also link your website or whatever form of or point of contact you want them to utilize to get a hold of you. Don't make them have to hunt to figure out how to connect with you, right? And this is important for a couple of reasons. One, if we're not already connected on social networks, more often than not, if they message me on the social network, it goes into like an other folder, right? Like the spam folder, which you may not check all the time or be aware that even exists. So you could be missing out on connections there. Number two, my goal is to get them off of social media and to my website or to some other form of a funnel, a landing page, a suite, whatever. Get them off of social networks because, right, they might be looking at my video going, oh yeah, I do want to contact Jacob, right? And then, the next video pops up and it's their ex-girlfriend kissing her new boyfriend. And you're like, oh, I'm going to comment on that a-hole. Like, I don't like that guy, right? And then all of a sudden they forget they wanted to talk to you in the first place because they got sucked into the social media hole, right? And that happens. So you got to get them off. So give them the point of contact, usually a website, a funnel page, a landing page, something. But just make sure that point of contact or that site has a way for them to contact you, right? Don't just send them to a random place, right? It's got to either be a place that leads to a point of contact or be a point of contact itself. So, for example, like on Instagram, right? Because you can only have a link in your profile, I'll have a place where they go to and it has whatever they want to, but every one of these, well, except for maybe the Forbes article, right, is a place for them to go do something and participate in some way with me, right? It could be subscribing to a show, giving me your email address. It could be, whatever. But the point is, I want to get them to give me their information. So if you're an agent, what I would probably do is have a little landing page that says, hey, I'd love to be your agent. This is what I can do for you. Let's chat. Here's my information. Call me, text me, email me, whatever it's going to be. I would probably go so far as to even build a nice little page. So I have this one. Let me show it to you real quick.
Okay.
I have this one where all my contact information
These are like the QR code pages that you can have. I know you can hit the QR code, and ones that I have for free with Linktree, you could go to like it's like Linktree/strategy call or something like that.
So I have this with my information, and then that button right there literally downloads my entire contact card right to their phone. So now they got my phone number, they can text me, they got my email address, they got my social media handles, everything's right there. And and you can do this like, if you're hosting your site with us, for example, we'll build this as part of what we build for you.
Cool.
But even if you're not, like, go to Linktree. Like, there's lots of places you can build things like that. Just have it, make it easy for them to get a hold of you and whatever your preferred communication medium is, and make that thing available all over all of your profiles. So my personal profile, my business pages, my TikTok, everything has, here's where you go to contact me. And I direct them all to the same point of contact. And because I put it on all my profiles, even if I'm not using that social network, it's still there. That way, even if they go there and find me there and I've got no content, like Parler, for example, is a great case in point, right? I've got no content on Parler, but if they go there, my profile is there, my link's there on how to contact me, they go, okay, let me get a hold of Bob here.
I'm writing this down. So what I've gotten so far, man, get on all social media platforms, be consistent. I think even before that, get over your fears and excuses, right? We beat that dead horse a couple times. And I mean, there were so many tips, and those were kind of like the main core ones. Was just get yourself out there, and be consistent with this stuff. There's so many things that are changing all the time. Follow Bob, I think, was another one that should be a pillar.
Should
Definitely.
be, definitely.
And
And by the way, if anybody, you need help with this support, you want it done for you, anything in the digital space, websites, CRM, anything, right? Just reach out to me. My email's here. Happy to talk to you about what we got, and do things like this, right? Just collaborate and then say, hey, look, if you want help, I'm your guy to help.
this is so cool, man. Any other tips before we sign off for the day, Bob? This was really good, man. I really appreciate your time.
Just get out there, and I'd love to see what you guys do. Tag me some posts, put me in a comment. I want to know what you guys, if you follow my advice. And if you have questions, again, reach out. I didn't see any comments roll through on the platform here, but it doesn't mean I won't see them. If you do have questions and you're on social, like, just tag me in the comment. Otherwise, I may not see the actual comment on the post. Again, or just reach out and connect me. I'm happy to connect and share my knowledge and help you guys go.
Cool. Thanks again, Bob. This was so good, man. I appreciate it. If anybody needs Bob at go3dc.com. Hit him up. This dude's super smart. I know we could go for a lot longer, man. And maybe when I screw some things up or we see some changes in the social space, maybe we'll do version 2.0.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Cool. Thanks, Bob. I appreciate you.